Sometimes, one can just not be bothered. In Sonaria, no one is ever truly safe and everyone must fend for themselves. But when pickings are slim, even the smallest creatures will take their chances with being an absolute nuisance. This male Kaluaka is simply too old to be bothered with the nonsense and chooses his battles wisely. In contrast, young creatures like the sprightly male Zaiti delight in their speed, finding joy in taunting others. It's as if some creatures are just born to be a nuisance. Zaiti typically come out at night and hide during the day. But due to the changing ecosystem and the influx of nocturnal predators preying on burrowed creatures, Zaiti like this male have adapted to be more active during the daytime. This shift has made them more aggressive. This male has been chased countless times by creatures wanting a taste of him. Now, he finds it amusing and cathartic to go on the offensive. However, his latest prank didn't go over very well with his target, and now our little flyer must rest to heal his wounds. After a day of resting, he's back at it again, biting and nipping at larger animals that he knows can't catch him. Sometimes he ends up with a mouthful of poison or prickly thorns, depending on whose flesh he decides to bite. Often washing it out is the best remedy. No matter the case, to this little Zaiti, the pain is worth it. This desert Diamarla does not tolerate such behavior and swiftly corrects the Zaiti. That was a close call with a creature that could have easily snapped his neck. Fortunately for this young male, he lives to see another day despite taking all these unnecessary risks. For other, more unfortunate souls like this tiny carnivore, the Uvias, they can take all the right steps to stay safe and responsible. Yet, before their life has barely begun, they end up as someone's meal. For this young female Saikari, navigating pools of lava might pose less danger than being spotted by a larger creature. Despite being ostracized from her pack, she has several tricks up her sleeve. Forced to rely on the few skills she possesses, Saikari make use of their potent scent glands located on their feet. By creating friction, she forcefully expels a liquid from these glands, meticulously masking her scent in the surrounding area where she intends to feed. The scent she secretes is so overpowering when rubbed onto a surface that it becomes the first check for any predators relying on smell to hunt. While she eats, she keeps a vigilant eye on the sky, reducing the risk of a predator sneaking up on her. They are more likely to follow the misleading scent trail to a different location she has marked. This strategy has served her well. While other creatures fall prey around her, she often blends into her surroundings or confuses predators with mixed smells. On Sonaria, for smaller animals, invisibility is often the best defense. In the chilling expanse of the mountains, a female Karathos has just hatched her eggs. The Karathos are immense creatures, weighing up to 50,000 pounds or 25 tons. This is comparable to the heft of a fully loaded semi-truck, a whale shark, or even a Boeing 737 aircraft. Even some large sailboats or yachts, especially those over 60 feet, tip the scales at around 50,000 pounds. For a creature of this size, every movement is a monumental effort. Karathos possess extremely dense armor and powerful jaws. Although their movements are slow, they pack a formidable punch and can hold their own against other kaiju of similar size. However, despite their considerable size, even at birth, the offspring are heavily dependent on their mother until they reach a more robust size. At this young age, their armor is not yet fully developed, and while their jaws are already powerful, their slow movements make these juvenile creatures perfect targets for predators. Nestled comfortably next to their mother in the icy terrain, the little male and his siblings feel completely at home. The warmth and comfort provided by their mother are crucial for their growth, and they will rely on her for a considerable time until they're capable of fending for themselves. As daylight breaks and the ice melts from the grass, the young family stirs into activity. The babies, ravenous, find that their mother has already prepared ample food for them, having wisely chosen a nesting site near the water. This proximity ensures the babies have all that they need while allowing her to stay close without venturing far for sustenance. While the babies feed and begin to find their legs, they're struck by a chilling realization: their mother is gone. Initially undisturbed, they continue to drink, waiting for her return. As time passes, the stark reality sets in: their mother is not coming back. The offspring, affectionately named Wobbly, senses that something is amiss as a familiar scent of his mother fades. Driven by instinct, he makes the only decision that seems right: to track her scent. This is the female Karathos' first clutch, and as a young mother, she had no idea that she was supposed to stay by her young. It's possible she ventured out to hunt, intending to bring back a larger, more sustainable meal. However, she's been gone for too long. As the offspring set out to follow their mother and find her, they're immediately met by hungry predators. Within most Karathos is a warrior spirit. If possible, they may exit a confrontation if it's too annoying. These offspring have never known fear or a reason to. Wobbly's quick bite to the skull of the flying nuisance is all that is needed to send it into the afterlife. Young Wobbly makes a quick meal out of it, but his moment of triumph is abruptly interrupted by a searing pain in his rear end. This feeling is a first for the young Karathos and his siblings. It is fear. A large Jeddah bean locks on to its target, Wobbly and his siblings. It's not every day a large flying carnivore comes upon 3 very big, easy meals. Spewing out a steady stream of acid, the Jeddah bean shows no mercy to the 3 baby Karathos. They are too slow to run away, and the undeveloped armor that they possess is nowhere near enough to shield them from this merciless onslaught for what is essentially a flying, mechanical yet organic shark. In a desperate attempt to end the attack, Wobbly breaks away from the onslaught to try and attack the menace directly. The Jeddah bean taunts them, sitting atop its perch that it knows they can't reach, while drawing them to it, causing them to be right where it wants them. In this moment, all the offspring feel is fear and pain. Escape seems futile. Their only hope is to somehow grasp the predator. Karathos are born with an innate capacity for ruthlessness. Even when fully grown, they are still very intimidating nocturnal hunters. The frilly plates along their necks and tails can detect vibrations and create an ominous rattling sound, a testament to their cold, calculating intelligence that often serves to taunt other creatures. However, for a pack of helpless baby Karathos, they are no match for this predator. The battle is fierce, and the 3 siblings are growing too wary and injured to continue. Karathos typically fight to the death, and these younglings have no alternative but to stick together, drawing strength from their numbers and following their instinct to survive. However, the Jeddah bean predator manages to draw one of the siblings away from the group. Meanwhile, Wobbly and his remaining sibling try to rest and tend to each other's wounds. Feeling thirsty, the trio of Karathos try to drink, but they are forbidden any respite. The relentless Jeddah bean continues its assault, dousing them with acid, skillfully taunting and torturing them simultaneously. Perhaps their mother will return, or perhaps she left them to learn how to withstand the harsh realities of Sonaria on their own. The harsh reality is that many Karathos never reach adulthood. They fall victim to predators, succumb to environmental stresses, or are even killed by their own kind. The 3 siblings are critically injured, struggling to stay together as they endure a slow torment of the flying predator. The Jeddah bean moves skillfully, leaping from one high perch to the other, prolonging their agony. As if the onslaught wasn't enough, the scent of their blood draws additional land predators to the scene of the carnage. The intoxicating smell triggers a fierce competition among the newcomers, resulting in one predator fatally wounding another with its sharp claws. The raptor-like predator hesitates and thinks twice about whether or not he wants to risk trying to take down such a large creature, despite it being so injured. In the distance, one of Wobbly's siblings fights valiantly, but to no avail, as the Jetta beam claims its life. With both siblings now fallen, Wobbly continues to fight to the bitter end. However, even the most valiant fighters with the most powerful jaws sometimes meet insurmountable odds. Had their mother been with them, they might have stood a chance. At the central rock faces, a male Sochuri is on the brink of a crucial life lesson. Never venture too close to a tornado. As he is mercilessly hurled into the water, the male Sochuri barely surfaces before the vortex pulls him in again. Sochuri are resilient creatures. Many would not have survived being slammed into a rock with such force. In a defiant protest, this young male spits an angry stream of fire, still failing to grasp the nature of the loud whirling vortex of wind. As if to punish his defiance, the tornado flings him once more. Sonaria spares no mercy for the weak. Although injured, the Sochuri is quickly ambushed. A brutal fight ensues as two creatures tear at each other's throats. However, the challenger has gravely underestimated the Sochuri. While it may appear to be a defenseless flyer, the Sochuri are, in fact, among the most lethal predators of the skies. However, not all residents of the sky are formidable combatants. Near a spring in the desert, a hub of activity thrives as many creatures gather to mate and seek refuge from the heat wave near the water. A very young Banishi, newly adept at flight, navigates through the crowd of larger creatures, keen to distance itself from potential threats. These desert flyers prefer to sidestep confrontation rather than engage. Banishi are constantly on the alert for feeding opportunities, favoring scavenging over hunting. With the arrival of spring, food is abundant. Fortuitously, this young Banishi has allied itself with a pack of Cavoridis, colossal ancient crustaceans from the sea's volcanic vents. Despite their menacing size and power, these kaiju crabs find scavenging on the shore easier than competing with oceanic predators, especially during nesting season, which they curiously prefer to do on land. The reasons for their land-based nesting are unclear. It may stem from ancestral nesting sites chosen by previous generations. The young Banishi not only shares in the scavenged spoils but also enjoys the formidable protection of the Cavoridis. Few predators dare to approach these giants. A single strike from their mighty claws or legs means instant death for any unfortunate creature that crosses their path. Contrary to initial assumptions, the Banishi is not as well received or cherished by other creatures as we thought. The Cavoridis, plagued by extremely poor eyesight, pose an inadvertent threat to our aerial ally. To avoid becoming an unintended meal, or an intended one, The Benishi cleverly masks its scent by rolling in the feces of the Cavoridis. Afterward, it carefully washes off the excess, ensuring only the essential oils remain, and not so much of a detestable odor. This camouflage tactic proves effective not only near the Cavoridis, but also in broader encounters. The residual scent often instills fear in many creatures, although this protective guise only lasts until the oily residue eventually wears off. One might imagine that flying over the vast landscapes of Sonaria is the safest mode of travel. But the skies harbor predators as well. For a Benishi, flying can be perilous. With their light feathers and plush bodies, they're often easy targets. However, this young male Benishi has a clever strategy for evading danger. When pursued, he makes a quick escape, darting swiftly to the nearest, largest predator. A quick nip is all it takes to irritate the giant. This tactic of provoking a much larger and now irate kaiju creates a formidable deterrent, warding off any would-be pursuers. No one wants to be anywhere near a very angry kaiju. Due to his exceptionally sharp hearing, the Benishi detects a disturbance. The sounds echo the distress calls of his large crustacean friends. Without hesitation, he makes a beeline back to the nesting site. Upon arrival, he discovers a small predator attacking the young. In a move uncharacteristic of most Benishi, he confronts the aggressor directly. This courageous intervention, aimed at protecting the vulnerable young, becomes his final act. The Benishi sacrifices himself, marking a brave and selfless end. Perhaps there might have been more to this alliance than just the usefulness of the protection of these large crabs. Somewhere in the distance, our Sochiri finds an appealing spot to rest and swiftly claims it as his own. With aggressive behavior and loud proclamations, he declares ownership of the small platform. Sochiri are known for their need to be the loudest presence around, a trait that often draws challengers to their doorstep. Unfortunately, this usually attracts challengers, like this lurking Jetterbeam, whom the Sochiri promptly puts in its place. Confident that he is marked as territory, the Sochiri then ventures out to assert his dominance over a smaller creature. As they reach what is essentially their puberty, male Sochiri become notably ornery and competitive, eager to pick fights with anyone and anything. If fortune favors this young Sochiri, he might find a suitable female. Less fortunate, he may encounter another male to vent his frustrations on. And if he's extremely unlucky, he will anger the wrong creature, which could potentially permanently injure him, or worse. With his instincts taking over, the young male starts trying to find places that would be good for rearing young. This looks like a promising location. However, Sochiri like having two exits for their caves or burrows, so this one won't do, as the other entrance is way too small. Still harboring anger at the world, the Sochiri continues to provoke fights while searching for an ideal nesting site, hoping to attract a female. Engaging in combat with strangers is always a gamble. One never knows the nature of the challenger they will face. This Momola, reminiscent of a butterfly, shakes off the excess dust that its wings produce, which causes a toxic effect. The Sochiri suddenly is confused and unable to fly straight. The toxins quickly disorient him, causing him to move erratically and putting him in a precarious situation. It's one of the Momola's greatest defenses, which would allow it to get away from a would-be aggressive predator. The Sochiri moves on, finding the experience quite unpleasant. Despite the confrontations, the Sochiri encounters an Orotum, which leaves him bleeding in the sky. For the first time, the young and impulsive male Sochiri flees in a panic, realizing he's grossly outmatched, and he doesn't get very far. His antagonistic behavior has finally caught up with him. As it is on land, the air can be a formidable place in Sonaria. But what about under the water? In the grassy shoals, a young kohiki glides through her environment with ease. To a land creature, it might appear at first glance that life under the ocean is quite peaceful. For this young kohiki, peace is all she's ever known. But just because her life has so far been serene, doesn't mean there aren't challenges in the water. Kohikis are useless on land, and can easily get stranded if they're not careful. This young female finds that sometimes the channels flood. She's never been down this path before, however, and quickly realizes that she could meet her death if not careful. She momentarily beaches herself, thinking she can make it further down where the waters seem to come together again. However, it's too much of a risk, and she's suffocating on the dry air. She can maneuver her way back to the water if she's lucky, and not too far. However, this poses another potential danger. Kohikis are very defenseless out of the water. Even though they are carnivorous hunters, and quite good at taking down prey in the water and out of it, if a predator were to happen upon her now in this state, she would be completely helpless. Luckily for her, she manages to return to the safety of the water. Kohikis possess bioluminescent features, a trait shared with many aquatic creatures in Sonaria. Uniquely, kohikis can dim their glowing markings to stealthily approach their prey. The waters of Sonaria used to teem with life, but with ongoing ecological changes, finding food has become very challenging, particularly for aquatic animals, to the point where many of them have to depend on hunting for food on land. As seen before, this poses a very difficult challenge. This young kohiki is not experienced enough to bring down prey from off-land, and if she's not careful, she herself can become a meal. She must choose her meals carefully. For this reason, most young kohikis opt to scavenge food under the water rather than to take their chances on land. In the aquatic realms of Sonaria, one intriguing hunting tactic employed by kohikis involves acquiring a piece of flesh and leaping from the water to lure unsuspecting flyers. If a kohiki is lucky, a flyer will take the flesh bait. And if timed right, this will allow the kohiki to grab the flyer, bringing it down to the depths of the water, drowning it, and getting a fresh meal. While in the midst of doing this, something catches the attention of our young female kohiki. It's a male. No longer interested in food, the young female follows this male. He knows exactly what game he's playing. Although we're uncertain as to the reason for this, it's a common ploy among male kohikis to entice females to pursue them, possibly as a test of their suitability or simply as a challenging courtship ritual. The female, completely captivated by this new male that she's found, has no choice but to follow him. They glide effortlessly over lava vents, and the older male rewards her by mating with her. The deed is over rather quickly, and the male leaves, possibly to find another female to impregnate. Kohiki mating activities are rather impersonal and quick. So is the life in the ocean. Kohikis do not have pair bonds, and they're not particularly social creatures unless they're looking for a mate or tending to their nest, and even so, the mothers often abandon the nest before the babies even hatch. Now that our young kohiki has bred, her next mission is to find a safe spot to lay her eggs. Finding a safe venue to lay eggs can be very challenging. There are so many things that can go wrong. This particular section of land is starting to flood, as it periodically does, several times throughout the year. This allows a lot of aquatic animals to access parts of the land that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to if the waters didn't rise. Maybe there could be a safe spot here for the kohiki's eggs. It seems this blue female also has the same idea, and is not very welcoming of our female trying to choose the spot. The older female wants her to choose her own spot. Better keep looking. Kohikis often leap out of the water to get a better view of their surroundings. Maybe there's a pocket of water somewhere in the distance that she had not seen, and it would be possible for her to get to it somehow. Surprisingly adept at seeing above the water, an evolutionary advantage likely developed from increased terrestrial hunting, she scans for the safety nesting site. There seems to be more life here in the water. However, it is clear that most creatures give kohikis a very wide berth due to their intimidating stature and them being formidable predators. The blue female seems to be claiming this entire territory for herself, something that our female is becoming annoyed with. Our female begins to push back, putting pressure on the blue female to either share or keep moving. While still in the search, a very colorful male seems impressed by our female kohiki and attempts to mate with her. However, our female is no longer interested in such shenanigans. Between searching for a nest, bickering with the other female, and trying to swat away the advances of this younger male, our kohiki is tired. She'll have to continue her search tomorrow. The search continues, but the female kohiki, whom we've nicknamed Estera, is hungry. Not only does she need to find a nest, but she also has to make sure that wherever she builds her nest is safe, but also very close to accessible food for her pups. Estera has once again run into the blue female, but this time the older blue female stays out of her way. It seems as though Estera has earned her place in this territory. Estera continues the search, using the underwater portals to traverse distances across the lands. She experienced snow for the first time. Such a strange phenomenon, little solid pieces of water rejoining the big mass that she has made her home in. As she's making her way across the strip of land, she couldn't have done this at a worse time, as a volcano has erupted, putting her in danger of being hit with giant rocks. Aside from it being quite terrifying, kohikis are pretty much safe under the water, as the land animals flee for their lives for shelter from the onslaught. And just like that, all is peaceful again, but not for everyone. For the few animals that chose the proximity of water as a safe haven from the erupting volcano, their refuge has become a perilous trap. The most dangerous place they could be right now is anywhere near the water. With Estera, this moment presents a prime opportunity for Estera to secure an easy meal. Maybe next time. As Estera makes her way through some tight spaces, she finds the coral reef and determines that this will be her nesting spot. She finally lays her eggs after ensuring that this place has enough food and provisions. However, she doesn't take too kindly to this intruder in her territory, and having just laid her eggs, her maternal instincts flare, leading to a confrontation. Her aggression outgunned her ability. Estera, feeling the sting of intense pain, her bravery staggers and she retreats to the depths of the water. She finds a safe place to hide and rest, camouflaging with her environment. When she's recovered and all is safe again, she once again revisits the surface to look around and make sure there are no immediate dangers. She will do this every day for a while until her eggs get close to hatching. The mothers don't particularly nurture the eggs, but more so make sure that the territory is free of any dangers or predators that would be hunting for the eggs. As a biological advantage, laying the eggs has made Estera way more territorial. Estera will stay close to the nest until she can hear the babies making their noises inside the shells of their eggs. Once the first few start cracking through, her job will have been done, and the cycle of life will repeat, with the young Kohiki too needing to prove that they can survive the wilds of Sonaria.